And we're live.
Welcome back here to the corner. Um, we're going to talk about something interesting today, but I don't want to spoil the surprise. But I will start off with a review of a whiskey, which is the famous Grouse Malt whiskey in 1989. It is retailing right now for just under £200 a bottle. Man, Alexander, I feel like pretty fucking lousy now that I've been drinking this like it's some cheap shit that I just picked up at the corner store.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is also I'm like drinking it off like a jam glass, but fuck that.
And also just sitting there drinking it in front of my face, and I'm sitting here with my poor ass. This scotch right here is not the scotch that you see there. That's actually a pretty good scotch, the Glenfiddich. But what I'm having here is just a cheap slave whiskey. Can you say that in English? Slave whiskey?
I think so.
Just
it is kind of the meaning, but sure, just call it that.
Yeah.
Just like rum. Rum was invented by the slaves.
I mean, in Danish we have the expression slave whiskey, and it has not a demeaning quality. It's just basically the whiskey that you buy in the grocery store that is super cheap, and that basically you can't drink it without ice because it burns your throat on the way down.
Yeah.
It's like, it's no, you can't drink it.
No, so let's get to it.
But I drink it anyway.
This famous grouse from 1989 is a rare discontinued bottle that was created from the finest whiskies of single year's distillation. Each cask individually is selected from Scotland's greatest distilleries. Yeah, including the Macallan and Highland Park. So it comes from the same. It came from the same yard, man, the same block as the Macallan and Highland Park. And then it has been aged for 12 years. I will say though that when I opened it, it was actually corked. You know what that means?
Like you told me last weekend, was it that it has something to do with that? There's cork in the whiskey. That doesn't sound so good.
The cork has like fallen off, and I thought, what the hell? Because I've seen the funny thing here is that I had just seen on TV on some lousy detective show from Spain, right? Where some British detectives was just offered a bottle of whiskey or something. From one of the basements of this rich guys on Mallorca as payment, or a reward for, thank you for the resolving the murder so quickly, right?
Yeah.
And then the guy opens it, and then it's like, oh, it's corked. Ba ba ba, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like thinking, oh, what?
It's like bad whiskey. I'm going to pull out my gun now and shoot you, because we can't deal with this. We can't deal with amateurs like you. You're not professional enough.
I hope there is some professionals out there that can explain this to me. But I'm sorry. Is it actually ruined when it gets cork in it? Because I understand it if it is wine, because then it might be like air coming into the wine and it will start yeasting, right? But
in wine it's different though, because in wine there can be something called wine, like rock or small stones that are in the wine, but that doesn't actually, they don't taste good, but I've tasted them before. They don't taste good, but they are actually not harmful to you. You could. There's even people in Germany that buy this shit. There's people that sell this shit in the grocery stores. They use it for baking and stuff. Yeah. So in wine, it's not that bad, except for the taste. But yeah.
So so I'm like sitting here like thinking like what so like that means it's fucking ruined when it's whiskey, because you
Yeah.
see, I don't believe so. I believe that like the alcohol percentage or alcohol volume is like simply too high for that to fucking ruin it. If you understand
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
because like
It's true.
a whiskey can't fucking yeast.
No, that's true, and like I don't know like that much about the details and the fermentation or the distillation. I mean, of course, what I do know is that before you make whiskey, you actually make beer, so that
Yeah.
you ferment the what do you say, the malt in the same way that you make beer, and then you have it then you have it because you have it in these big ass like what do you call it barrels, no, steel barrels or whatever, where it just lies and it just soaks up and the yeast goes up, and then you get beer, but then you distill it in order to become whiskey. Then you put it through like a huge ass machine where you then distill even more alcohol out of it, and then it becomes what you would call moonshine in Red Dead Redemption. It becomes this very high alcohol
Oh yeah.
spirit, almost,
Yeah.
that's like I think 90% or 80 or
Yeah,
90%
close to it.
alcohol.
70 to 90. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
I
then
remember that.
yeah, and then you put
Because
it on the barrel, and in the barrel,
yeah.
that's actually where you get the taste. That's where you get the flavor from all these brands, from all these distilleries. You can put it on in a very charred barrel. That's when you get this. Let me just think of a whiskey that has this
smoky taste.
yeah,
Smoky
the
taste.
smoky taste. You call it peated.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I don't know right now. I'm trying to come up because that's not my taste actually. So I'm not really that much into what brands serve peated whiskey. I'm more for these that are in sherry oak casks, like
Yeah. I also like sherry oak
because
casks.
they kind of get the sweetness to it.
I believe J.P. Weiser's, which is a Canadian whiskey,
Yeah,
is from like cherry oak caskets, and
yeah,
that's also like a really good whiskey, even though it's cheap, like $15 a bottle or so.
yeah, yeah.
Still worth it. But yeah, man. Now we're gonna like get to it, because like I remember you telling me, or you sending me a link to like a guy that was like reviewing whiskey, and then I was like, okay, so that's
Well,
how you taste it. And apparently, like how you're going to taste it is that you're going to take a sip. I'm going to take a sip of this,
oh yeah, this is
and then
great.
I'm going to keep it in my mouth for for 1 second for each of the years. Not the fucking age that this bottle is, because it's from
Yeah,
1989. But I will keep it in the mouth for as many years. It's been in a barrel, and it's been in the
yeah,
barrel for 12
exactly.
years. So that's 12 seconds.
Yeah,
And by doing so, you should also be able to get out all the flavors, like from the cask it's been in, the oak, if it's been smoky, and like taste a little about this stuff.
yeah.
Probably more, you would like probably be able to like say more if you were like an experienced, what's the name, sommelier in whiskey.
Yeah, I should know that,
Yeah.
but I don't know it right now.
That is the word, at least. I'm just not sure if I'm like pronouncing it correctly. But like, here we go, like 12 seconds. All right.
Let's
Count with me.
let's do it together. Cheers.
Together. Cheers, man.
And I will. Okay, we will count with our fingers. So. Mine was 3 years, so I'm already down because this is crap whiskey. But that's also an interesting thing. Usually, when you have whiskey, you're not actually allowed to call it whiskey unless it has aged at least 3 years in a bottle. So even this cheap whiskey, this crap whiskey that we call slave whiskey in Denmark, is still supposed to age 3 years in a bottle. That's kind of the rules there. There's not those kind of rules for vodka and rum. I don't, at least not to my recollection. But for whiskey, there is these rules, at least from what I have gathered from the internet and reading, that whiskey usually needs to be 3 years.
Oh, that makes sense. Man, I can feel all the flavors coming up in my in my mouth here.
Yeah,
And
that's
I can
great.
feel this. I can feel like the smoky taste. I can feel like the taste of the wood, and I have to say, like it's really similar to Highland Park. If you ever tasted that.
Man, yeah, absolutely. And I'm so jealous right now. I'm so fucking jealous because I'm just sitting here like, what the fuck, man? I can't taste it. I only have this crap whiskey that tastes of. It tastes of garbage. It tastes of the litter that you would find on the street. That somebody has thrown away a pizza and left it there for 3 days. That's what this tastes of. Nah, I don't know. No,
I'm going to like say though, like of course, like this bottle was a gift, so I didn't pay for it. But I will never in my life pay $200 for a bottle of whiskey.
Nah.
Right. That's
no.
It's outrageous.
Good whiskey definitely doesn't have to be that expensive in order to be great whiskey.
Like because if I'm comparing this to Wild Turkey Bourbon, which is still my damn favorite, even though Americans that I talk to is like saying, "Hey, Wild Turkey, ain't that just the cheap stuff?"
Oh man!
and then I'm like, yeah, but have you actually like ever given it a try? Have you ever tasted it?
Because, and what do they say then?
They say no. Well, so like I say, well then go to the fucking liquor store then and buy it, right, and taste it.
Jesus.
Right?
You can't say you're crazy about something without ever having had the taste in your own mouth. What the fuck, man? That doesn't make sense.
And you know, like that you can bash on the stuff like that early, like just say like, no, it's crap. Have you tasted it? No.
I mean the Glenfiddich I have over there, the 18-year-old actually, that was a phenomenal, the best whiskey I've ever tasted. That's why I still have the box, the brown one, and that was. Wow, that was from a whole different world. I mean, it was sweet in a way. I'm not one of the persons who can actually taste the fruit in it, or it says it was fruity, but I'm not one of those persons who can taste that. But it was so smooth, man. It was so like mellow, and you could barely even feel it on the way down. It was like what do you call it? Saftevann, in Denmark we have that word. Kool-Aid, yeah. But like Kool-Aid, basically. Except that it was a high-class Kool-Aid, like Kool-Aid for adults, for gentlemen. But not Kool-Aid at all, because that's not making justice to it.
Do you like smoky whiskey?
No, I don't, and that's why I couldn't come up with a name. I should actually Google that. I think we've spent enough time on the webcam, so I'm just going to pause that right here. So I'm just going to go out here to Google and Google some peated whiskeys. Because
man, what is a peated whiskey? Now I'm also curious. What is a peated whiskey?
No, I mean, like it is smoked. It is smoky. Like it has matured in oak in charred oak casks. If it's bourbon, then it's probably American oak casks. But I'm looking for the brand here.
Oh man, okay. Talisker.
Yeah,
I see that the prices is. The price is like a little higher than like the normal single malt, like around $50-$60 a bottle.
Yeah, but that's a Talisker. I've never tried it for good reason, because one, it is expensive. One, it is expensive, and two, I'm not a fan of peat generally, but yeah, I have tried it before.
Yeah, I need to taste that. I need to check that. We need to check that out for another episode.
Oh yeah, the Bunhaven.
Oh man, okay. No wait, I have tasted the Benria.
Benriach. And see, these are all Scotch. Like, I think also Scotch whiskey, they have a very, very frequent tendency to make it peated also. Especially, I could be wrong about this, but I think they have a tendency to make it more peated in the Highlands. But don't quote me on that if there are any whiskey experts out there.
Man, like, you know, like the first... I've like tasted Benriach like 3 times, I think, right? And one of these 3 times was when I went with a guy to a whiskey store, right? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, let me try that one, you know, since you can ask for samples and taste in a whiskey store. Like, okay, let me try that one. Let me try that one. Let me try. So, like, after 12 samples or so, like the guy asked me, like, so are you actually going to buy something, or and I was like, hell no, man, like, this is way too expensive for me.
But yeah, I mean, like, that's what they do, because also they have especially whiskey special stores that only sell whiskey and rum and other liqueurs. They are specialized so much so that they earn quite a lot, and that's why they can also give these frequent samples out.
I would assume though that that like all these stores that earns money on it have to be like in large population cities, because like, don't tell me that there is like a whiskey store, a specialized whiskey store in Herning.
And
is there?
I don't actually know, man.
Is there?
I don't know.
I doubt it. I doubt it. Like in Odense or Hus, Hamburg, Berlin, Copenhagen, I definitely, you know, like I said, you'll find some, but unless it's like in a place where there is like enough of these high class people that spends money on this, then no way, man, no way. But yeah, I tasted the Benriach peated whiskey, and that was like very, very smoky, like goddamn.
Yeah. So was the Bunnahaven that one of my friends was presented me like a couple of years ago, actually, which you spell it completely different, and that's probably also a testament to the people that made this, who were just like a bunch of Scottish people standing around a table saying, "What are we going to do with this old cask? What are we going to call that? We're going to call that Bunnahaven. And what are we going? How are we going to spell that? Bunnahapain."
Oh man!
Like you spell it with a B, and then you say haven. I mean, wow. Bunahap, like the way you spell it is Bunnahapain, and the way you pronounce this is Bunnahaven.
Well, like you shouldn't, you know, like just brush it under the carpet that whoever made up this name was probably not sober. It probably had like a...
Oh, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah. Wow.
Like, man, can you imagine, you know, like making a living off whiskey?
Yeah, and that's what another thing you wanted to talk about. I remember when I mentioned the store from one of my good friends, who his brother is running a whiskey store in Copenhagen, and I'm actually looking at it right now on online. You guys, I mean, if there's any. Like this is mainly for people in Denmark, of course. Also in Sweden, if you're from Sweden. If we have any Swedish listeners, they also ship to there.
Don't they ship to the entire union?
No, they only ship to Denmark and then Sweden. And for Sweden, it costs extra because they are a very small, because it is so fucking competitive. It is,
and it also might be that not only is it expensive. It's expensive as fuck, man, to ship over country borders.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they take 125 kroners to ship it to Sweden, and and 60 to ship it to Denmark.
Which is like why I don't get it, like because I ordered this cover, for my phone, from Amazon, from it was like either like Ireland or England. You guess like how long time it took for that shit to arrive in my mailbox?
2 weeks.
3 days.
Wow.
3 days, shit. And it was like already in my mailbox. It was like 50 kroner, so like $4 or so in shipping, $5 in shipping, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, damn, that is some heavy shipping time, man. Because whenever I order something from eBay, then it seems to take me months. Before it lands in my mailbox.
Yeah, and that's also one of the problems that they have.
Right.
But they seem to be making a good profit as they go, because they already opened it up like 3 years ago, so they've already been up and running for quite a while. And
are they living off it?
Nah, I don't know, man. I gotta ask my friend about that next time we meet. I don't think so, but like I don't know, man. But they have made a lot more money since, and they've also got a lot more followers since they started. So maybe. Yeah. But I see they have put a lot of stuff on sale here, as you can see. I'm looking at the Weller right now. So. Man. If like this could just be a Christmas sale, of course.
I gotta like make a shout out. Are you saying like it's 2 dudes?
It's four dudes.
Okay, like I gotta like give a big shout out to them, because it's really freaking difficult, I think, to open up a company solo, and that they are 4 guys. Then they are able, like to push each other, spar with each other, motivate each other. Like to keep going, right? Yeah. Kind of like you with this podcast thingy, because like I kind of like given up to it, and then and then you come to me and like say like, no, you can't quit this shit.
No,
like this is fucking Joe Rogan level.
Yeah, and we're not completely. We don't have a Jamie. We don't have a Jamie, but like we have made a couple of episodes that I think could go up there. I mean, in terms of speed and the talking level, maybe not the insights, but at least like the talking speed that we have. That at least I think we if like given enough time, we could get there. Definitely. And of course, Joe Rogan is only as good as he is because he has years of practice. I mean, we're talking about decades. This guy has been commenting on shit ever since he was in the wrestling, all that
UFC,
martial arts and stuff, UFC and whatever the fuck that guy has commented on. Jesus, man. I mean, the record that guy has. I mean,
like he says himself, though, like you also get like a lot of practice in when you are talking to people, then you become better.
Yeah, exactly.
At talking, because you're shaping it, like you're shaping the blade of that skill like you would with any skill, as talking is also a skill.
Yeah, exactly. And look how beautifully we transcended into the next topic that I actually had in mind that we were going to talk about, which was the podcasting in general, and just the joy of podcasting, how we like doing it, and how we're not just doing it for the money. Of course, it would be great if we could set up a Patreon account and people could donate if we do get more viewers, do get more listeners. But the joy of it, I think, is just like just because I think that's actually what we're missing in today's society, just to actually also come to the next topic, the better world. How can we make a better world? So now I know I'm tying a lot of things together here, but that's okay, because we will talk about all of this a little bit more. No, that you can make a better world simply by talking. Simply by fucking talking to each other. By inviting people on your podcast. I don't give a shit if it seems narcissistic at first, because it's not. It's actually, we all need that. We all need to get things out of our brains through our mouths and just communicate, because and Joe Rogan has said this on multiple occasions. Communication is one of the fucking most important things on earth, and whiskey also helps with that. So you see how I tied all three topics together, because it actually, it all connects, and we are all connected in this great universe, in this great world. So yeah, I mean, that's just I know I went a little bit off.
I agree.
On a rant there.
You went on like a little bit maybe, but yeah, like people should be like better at talking to each other and listen and be a little more mellowed out, because you're right, man. It's not all about the money, but a lot of people, more than you think, believe it is. Like seeing them like in any factory that I've worked at, there's always, like the type that is like, like taking every overtime shift he can get, like, because it's more money in the bank. It's more money in the bank.
Yeah, and you can kind of understand that, because money is, and I listened to the podcast between Russell Brand and Joe Rogan just recently, where they also talk about exactly this, that money is a very helpful means to get the things that you want. And
sure is.
And Joe Rogan is talking about this. However, Russell Brand is countering with the fact that it is a system. Now, what was it he was saying? Like, he always talks. He talks as fast as I do sometimes. When he gets going on a rant, he's just like going places, and you don't know where the fuck he's stopping. He's like transcending the moment. But he was advocating for that. It is not the money that is the problem. It is what the money is representing. That the money is this system, this very fluid thing that is just actually representing all the resources that we have, and there's a finite amount of that, and it's not real. Basically, is what he's saying. It's not real. The money is not real. The resources are real. And the people are real, but the money is just a fiction. It's just, to quote the Wolf of Wall Street, a fugazi.
Like in any culture, though, past or present, there is always like like a means to do a trade. Like in the 1800s, when it was like this like big fur business going on in Canada, right? Then you wouldn't necessarily buy the fur with money. You could also like trade for the fur with like other supplies, right?
Yeah.
And this culture is like still going on, for instance, in Greenland between the Eskimos, right? Yeah. Where you have like somebody like not exchanging money for something. It's like, okay, man, you got this meat from the fish that you fished, or whatever you hunted, and I can trade you something, like for it, like fur from what do you call it? Like in English, walrus.
Oh yeah, the walrus.
Walrus. Yeah.
Walrus.
I got skin from a walrus or pelt from a walrus. I'll trade you this for like that, right?
Yeah.
So there always been a means to a trade.
Yeah, that's true.
Money,
I suppose
money is just more convenient, at least in the modern society, to do that trade than for you to go out in some forest in Denmark. to hunt something, skin it, butcher it, and be like, okay, and I got this meat. I got this meat in this. I got this belt in one hand. Will you trade me that flat screen TV for that?
Yeah. But that's also because like the times have changed, and there's a lot more jobs today that are revolving around where you don't have literal physical resources, where you have resources that are more that are not graspable, that are these services, and that we call services. We call it goods and services in economics. So that we have these services that you can't grasp, like somebody cutting someone's hair. You pay them for that. What do you pay for? You don't have the physical resource. You don't have the goods. It doesn't exist. And that's also what I think, like a lot of what Russell Brand means. A lot of these things that we pay for today are things that don't really exist. And so what is it at the end of the day that you're paying for? You're paying for their skill set and their dedication and energy to it. They consume some food. They use the energy to help you for money. But it's not the money that's in the center there. A lot of people say like, yeah, nah, man, like you get $200 for that? That's crazy. What the fuck, man? What they really should be saying, you're helping me with something. They should really more focus on the act of giving that service rather than focusing on the price for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what. Okay.
Yeah, I'll add one thing to this though. Then it's easy for both Rogan, because he's also said the same thing, that like, I don't really spend that much money, so I think I'm okay. Right, and it's easy for people like this and Russell Brand to like say these kind of things, because money is one thing they are not short of in any time soon.
That's true.
And I think it was like a little bit contradictional of like Joe Rogan to say that, and then being like, you're gonna buy a $30 million ranch or mansion in Texas.
But that's one thing though. But he does hunt, and he does like the hunting part. Like we can just start with that. He what I heard on that podcast with Russell Brand was that he hunts elk. We're not plagiarizing by mentioning stuff from their podcast.
No, we're not.
Come on, like fuck, man, people, and it's verbally. It's not even written down. Plagiarism is written down, folks. It's not verbally. Fuck it. So no, like he is hunting elk, and what he was saying was that when he shoots a deer, when he shoots an elk, he is he has meat enough for 6 or 8 months, I think it was, which was actually surprising to me, that you can shoot one animal, just one, and then have enough meat for half a year. No, for 6 months. So in all that time, he's not spending money on expensive meats other places, because he hunts his own meat. I mean, that shows fucking integrity. Even if you have millions, you still go out and you still hunt that meat and get your own, because of course he has his reasons for that. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense though, like, because it will probably be like something like 200-300 kilos of eatable meat on an elk, on a big elk.
Yeah, of edible meat. Yeah.
And that is. That's food for a lot of time, yeah. But yeah, like the question there like comes more, like with how you're going to preserve it.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you can butcher this and like just put it in your refrigerator and then it's good to go.
Yeah. Right? He does, and now he puts it in his freezer. Like we have.
Yeah, he would need to freeze it in portions. Yeah,
that's the amazing thing of the times we live in today. We have the freezing technology. We have refrigerating technology that we use. They didn't have that just 100 years ago, or 200. Like, I don't know, when was electricity invented?
Yeah, like early 1800s, late 1800s.
Yeah, late 1800s. So yeah, they didn't have that just 200 years ago, and we gotta be thankful for that at least.
They had an ice block. That was it.
Yeah.
Or ice block and root cellars.
Yeah. But I think also why Joe Rogan does this is to get in touch, as he also says on his podcast, is to get in touch with nature. And that's also a central point that I want to discuss here, because that's very interesting too. Like, a lot of people have lost. You could go listen to Russell Brand versus Joe Rogan on his podcast, because they can explain it much better than us two idiots sitting here. But getting in touch with nature is a thing that people in our society have completely forgotten about. People are just living in their own homes, sitting behind their screens, as we're doing now too, and don't even want to go out. They just want to sit comfortable. They don't want to exercise. They don't want to inconvenience themselves because it's too hard. It's too hard.
Yeah, man. That's like I follow this guy on YouTube called like the homeless firefighter.
Yeah.
And he was like during just like pandemic, he's been like filming and being like, like, I like to go hiking and stuff in California national parks. And there's a bunch of like these people that are coming in there to take selfies and post on Instagram. But he had noticed that most of these people only go a mile into the forest and then return to their vehicle. to walk a 5-minute walk into a forest and be like, hey, look at me, I'm sporty, yo, look at me.
That sounds like, oh man, that sounds like some of these people in Denmark who are also living in the north of Jutland, in the north of Denmark, who are saying, these fishermen who are actually saying, I just heard about this today on the news as well, like these fishermen who are saying, oh, the seals are eating all our fish. We can see that the amount of fish that we're catching is decreasing, is going down because the seals are eating all our fish. And I'm just like, what? Why can't you just be glad that the seals are one of the last extinct species in Denmark that still exists, instead of being angry that they eat all the fish? I mean, what the fuck?
It's the money.
It's the money again. It's the money, and it's the greed that they need their fish. They need to fucking catch these fish.
Yeah, man.
It's like, I mean, they need to slow their roll, as we've talked about before.
Yeah.
They need to slow down and just enjoy the nature more, and maybe they don't catch a fish, but that's okay. Then just fucking enjoy the nature. You don't have to catch a fish every damn time.
Or they would need to go further out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? But that's not in question.
No, because again, that is too uncomfortable for them. Yeah. That's too hard, and we need to spend more money, and we know how we fucking care about all that money that we don't want to spend because we need to hold on to it as tightly as possible.
Like, you can't convince me that like the entire North Sea is dry of fish. No way, man.
No. Me neither. Like, there is overfishing going on, but that is not. I think that's actually in the Atlantic. I don't think that it's so bad here, and I could be wrong about that.
Nah, man.
Let me just check that.
I don't like if it's any kind of like overfishing. It's like probably tuna fish or so, maybe in the Atlantic. I'm not sure. Which is like something, man. Which is like something, something interesting, because like in Norway, if you catch a tuna fish that is less than 200 kilos, you have to let it go.
Less than 200?
Yeah, less than 200 kilos. You have to let it go.
But why less than?
Like, I don't know, because like then they're not big enough, or can still format themselves through. I'm not sure. Like the tuna fish catching rules, Norway.
Yeah, but doesn't it also like depend on how many are landing in the net? Like how many fish are actually ending up in the net. It doesn't matter how thick they are and how much they weigh. It matters how many there are, right? Or I don't know. I mean, I don't.
No. It's about the size. Like for instance, in America, apparently it needs to be at least 27 inches in length. If it is less than that, then they have to let it go. It's probably like something of the same in Norway, or it was like the other way around, and like because it was so big, they had to let it go. Yeah. I can't really find it anywhere right now, but yeah. What's the time frame we're on right now, by the way?
We're on 40 minutes, and I think we've actually been around all the topics that I wanted to be on. So that's...
I want to say like one thing though, back to like this. If you could live off making whiskey, how would you do it?
Making whiskey or wholesaling whiskey?
Making a living of it. Anyway.
Well, that's something I have to actually think about, because, and I don't know why the fuck I'm raising an eyebrow like this. That's fucking weird. No, I don't fucking... I actually hadn't considered that. Why don't you start with that?
I wouldn't want to distill it. Because like that would be like I don't know. I wouldn't trust myself, like walking around a damn whiskey distillery, like checking on the merch every day, like yeah, I'm gonna take a nip of that. I would be pissed drunk every day, from that shit.
Well, that's where I think I would be much more controlled, because to me, I maintain a very clear separation of drinking and my job. I have when I drink, I don't do anything work related.
Here's the
I do creative stuff, but not work related.
Would you think that way when it is your business? It's your place, right? That's the question. Like if you would be able to think of it at work.
No. Oh, right.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, shit, man, you could be making this podcasts in your distillery. And it would be real easy to, just grab one of the bottles on the shelf behind you in the distillery and being like, yeah, I'm going to try this out.
Yeah.
Right. But no, I would say that it would require some level of discipline and restraint.
But
if that was it. But
I mean, you're not talking about just going in and emptying like 3 of these glasses of random whiskeys in there. No, we're just talking about dipping your finger, right? Or are we talking about getting wasted going through those?
We're talking about taking 3 of those glasses to a barrel and test this merch.
Oh man. No, I don't think I would do that either. I wouldn't. The thing is, though, I wouldn't care about the profit. Not after, because I've come to realize that, and this. Yeah, and I'm saying this to all the fucking economist people out there, because in all economics classes you're always hearing, we need to make sure that all those on the bottom line, the profit is always on the green side, the green numbers, the plus signs. And I'm right here to say that fuck that, because that is essentially what's wrong with capitalism and what's wrong with the whole the whole trade thing. Because as soon as you think like that, that's when the greed arises. That's when you own a business. I don't think there's much difference between making plus 1,000 and making plus 10,000. And once you're making plus 10,000, then you might as well make plus 100,000 and plus 1,000,000 and plus 1,000,000,000. Then it doesn't fucking matter. So you see, there's no fucking limit. So actually, the most healthy way to run a business, I think, is just saying, yeah, if we go a little bit in minus, that's fine. We shouldn't go like 100,000 in minus, but we should we can go a little bit in minus. That's fine because we're helping people. Again, we shouldn't look at all these fucking balance sheets and all that crap so tightly. We should look at, is the product that we're producing, is that of good quality? Are the people that are working for me, are they happy? We should be focusing on that. And if we're having a whiskey distillery, we should be just looking on, is that good quality? Do I have enough to serve my customers? And if I have that, then sure, I can take 3 glasses of this and then enjoy myself with it. Why not?
Okay, man. Like amen, brother. That's like the correct way of looking at it, in my opinion, too.
Exactly.
If it was me, though, making a living of whiskey, I think it would be to buy bottles, to buy and sell bottles, which I been reading about.
That's what that's what my friend does, or my friend's brother does. Yeah.
But not in the distillery of what the fuck am I saying? Not in the course, of drinking, of ordering and buying and selling, normal whiskeys.
Yeah.
I'm talking about shit that's like $5,000 a bottle.
No, definitely not. It should, I would never want to sell stuff to super rich people just because I respect the poor and middle classes too much.
The reason for that is, because if you buy a bottle of $5,000 whiskey, then it's not that the quality is worth $5,000. It's because the bottle is worth $5,000 because it probably comes from
the branding, the fucking mark, the
branding,
it is. That's all a part of it. It's all a part of it.
But that comes from, for instance, if you got like a 30-year-old bottle from a distillery that is gone, burned down, or not that you're not able. You're not able to get a bottle of this specific whiskey from that distillery because it burned down in 1994 or it went bankrupt or whatever the fuck, right? And that is what makes the bottle worth the money, because now it is only certain amount. Now it's only a specific amount of these bottles left on the planet. So it's $5,000 this year, but it'll be $10,000 next year or the year after that.
Yeah.
Because the longer time you hold on to it, then the shorter the supply gets. Because you'll have another motherfucker who's sitting on this bottle, who's probably sitting in this mansion and be like, yeah, I can pop this 5K bottle right now and show it off to my friends. And because he does that, then your bottle becomes more worth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it does. But we're talking about the super rich whiskey that you have for a longer time just to have it, as a status symbol. This is a fucking
Yeah, but but that's for the people that buy it. If you're holding on to it to sell it, then that's another ball game because
that's just bullshit. That's just greed. That's just right fucking human greed right there. I'm gotta get my 10K.
Gotta get my money worth.
What the fuck?
Right.
And then the best fucking thing that happens is when 20 years later, when you're fucking 84 years old, then you die of a heart attack, and then that bottle is going into fucking inheritance to your son, and then you don't have anything of it. I love that. I fucking love that.
Yeah, but that's only one bottle. What if you've been buying and selling 100 bottles in this time?
But they were not as expensive as your precious, to quote Colin. They were they say you have a bottle that's worth 100,000 when you bought it, and you can sell it for $2 million.
Oh man!
And then you die, and your son gets it, and then you have no. I love that. I love that. I fucking love that. Stupid fucks. Stupid rich fucks, man.
Oh man. Man, you went on a little rant there.
Yeah.
But it's all for entertainment.
It's
all for good.
I mean, it's a Christmas special, so, and there was a little too much shh in there because of this, but yeah.
And like also to finish up a little bit more, yeah, man, if you are like wondering if you should buy a bottle like this, vintage malt whiskey from Famous Grouse from 1989, or a Wild Turkey, you should go with the Wild Turkey.
Yeah.
And I mean that because like the Wild Turkey is like smoky and it has like way more flavors in it if you're like, and that's only like been in the bottle for like 6 to 8 years, I think, and not in the bottle, I mean like in the barrel for 6 to 8 years, and that's only like a tenth of the price of this.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Usually, I would recommend like buying whiskeys in the range of between 30. 30. That's even like the real cheap one. What's the real cheap ones? The real cheap ones are like
15.
Like 15. Yeah, $15 to $17. So like 30 to 50, maybe $60. That's like the range that I would buy whiskey in, because that's like where you still can get the good quality. Like that one I have over there, the Glenfiddich, the brown one, that cost me €80. So that's as high as I've gone. Like I would never go much higher than €100 or $100. That's too much for me.
Yeah.
And that's also, I think that's when it becomes a status thing. That becomes like, ooh, look how much money I fucking spent on this crap, without a lot of real increase in taste. But I don't know, man. I wouldn't know that because I've never tasted that expensive, and I don't really want to.
Well, I mean that is also dependent on that whoever you have on visit to taste that bottle actually knows what it's worth.
Yeah.
And that's because like most likely it would just be like, oh, yeah, man, just give me a glass of that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, man, I think that was it for this episode. I hope that you enjoyed watching.
No, hold on. I have still an unpromotional message here. We're not sponsored by 100proof.dk, but I want to mention them anyway because it's my friend's website. So if you are in Denmark or Sweden, check out 100proof.dk and buy a whiskey there. The Weller is pretty good. That's also what we talked about, a peated whiskey that was in American oak barrels, charred American oak barrels. So the Weller on that website, or the rye. I can actually, I have it right here. Hold on.
Yeah, man, he's getting up. He's getting up from his chair.
I'm getting up.
He's getting something. He's holding the cord of the headset.
Oh yeah.
Now he's back again.
So
in another chair, or no?
No, it's the same chair.
He has two chairs. Yeah.
That one is just for relaxing. This one is for actual business. Business as much as you can without being greedy. But anyway, this one, a little nice one cost me $50. That's the Templeton Rye. And that's what I recommended to you as well. You should definitely check that out on the website. Costs $50, 300 kroners, and has a very unique taste because it's rye. Like, as I told, a lot of whiskey is malt. But this one is of 90% rye, which is in Denmark it's called rue, and that has a really unique, I don't even know, not a bitter taste. It's more like a very rough Viking taste to it almost.
Alexander, that doesn't answer the question of why is bottle empty?
Yeah, that's the question. Well, you're talking to a whiskey lover here. Why is you're that's basically like asking a kid why is the candy box empty, or why is the bag full of candy empty? Well, that's because I love the damn whiskey, and also like I've had a lot of people over. Like that's the beautiful thing about high quality whiskey, about single malt whiskey, especially, is that usually you can drink it yourself, but the best thing, of course, is to share it, because then you can also like you imagine it like you do this. Why is my chair all the way down now? What the fuck? That's weird. Anyway, so like you do this. Hey, you want a glass of whiskey, man? I'm gonna pour you one. And then I'm going to tell you about the story, the production process of whiskey, and what whiskey you should buy and stuff like that. And then you get then you get the ball rolling, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
So I use, like, especially when I drink single malt, it's always in a social context. I almost don't drink expensive liquor without anyone else.
Right.
So yeah. So that's pretty good. A pretty good note to end it on. Buy the Templeton Rye 4-year-old. The 6-year-old is even better, but I haven't tried that yet. Or supposedly it's better. I don't know. I haven't tried it. But yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Then that was it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. This Christmas special. And as always, like, share, and subscribe the shit out of these videos. And channel and whatever. Yeah, and that's it. Have a nice weekend, folks. Peace out. Until next time.